Alicia, thank you so much for being here. What is quantum healing?
I would say that quantum healing means that you're shifting your consciousness, and your consciousness means like your inner state. So the emotions that you're carrying, the thoughts that you're having, the beliefs that you have, that's what I would call your state of consciousness. So quantum healing means that so quantum physics essentially talks about how your consciousness is creating your entire reality. So it's just like one big mirror reflection. So an example of that would be like someone comes into your life that triggers you to show you that you're carrying a particular emotion or a particular limiting belief. So you manifested that. You co created someone showing up in your life to show you that you're carrying this thing that's not serving you, or you manifested an illness to show you you're carrying this thing that's not serving you. So that's what quantum physics is referring to when it says your consciousness is creating your reality. It's that your body wants you to be free and wants you to know that you're not living in your natural state and that you are living in lack when you don't have to be living in lack. And that if you continue this way, it could turn into an illness. So your body really tries to warn you by showing you these mirror reflections. So quantum healing just means we're shifting your consciousness and your inner state, which is like getting to the root cause of why this problem is even showing up in your life in the first place.
You just
You
said
just
from that someone is lacking from their normal state.
Mhm.
What is that default state?
Yeah, so if you've ever read Power versus Force, which I'm assuming you haven't, it talks about the human scale of consciousness. So they essentially have calibrated all the emotions that a human being can feel, and it's on a logarithmic chart, and essentially 500 and above is your natural state. So that's love, joy, and peace. And you can tell that that's your natural state if you've ever dissolved something like shame or fear, like even like 2% of it, you would have noticed that like when you dissolved a little bit of fear, you just felt peace. When you weren't scared, you just weren't scared. So then you felt peace. So peace is your natural state. It's like underneath this emotion that isn't your natural state. And the same thing with shame. Like people that are carrying shame, so they're really judgmental about themselves or other people, and then they dissolve a little bit of shame, they naturally feel more love. So they're less judgmental about themselves and other people, and they naturally feel more love. So you'll notice the second you start to heal anything at all, you're like, oh my God, I just feel, or like joy, for example, when I healed from depression, and I started dissolving like despair and hopelessness, I just naturally felt joy. I didn't have to force myself to feel joy. I didn't have to change my environment or control anything or like do more or like keep busy or get a new job or anything like that. Like I just felt unconditional joy when I dissolved everything that was in the way of it that wasn't aligned with my natural state.
It sounds a little bit like you could have a choice. Like you could choose to feel a certain way in or just feel joyful for your whole life. What I think every human being is striving to be is just to be happy all the time. So what you're telling me, there is a way to get into that natural state, and that is quantum.
Yes, essentially the way that you would live in your natural state, all you have to do is dissolve what's not your natural state. So
Okay.
fear, shame, guilt, apathy, despair, hopelessness, powerlessness, anything that's not serving you, you dissolve that and you will be living in your natural state. And you only really need to dissolve even like 2% of it to feel more joy, love, or peace because that scale that I was talking about earlier, it's a logarithmic scale, which means it's like an exponential curve. So, it's not, like, just linear, like, if you even dissolve 2%, it's like it's exponential, or you could call it, like, a quantum jump.
It sounds so easy, a bit
Mhm.
too good to be true. I'm sorry
I
for
know.
that, but what do you really mean by dissolving? Just for instance, my cat just died and I'm feeling a little sad. How can I dissolve this sadness other than going through this hell of grief?
Yeah, so that's Why? So it is simple, but I'm not gonna say it's easy because then everyone would be doing it. The reason that people
Yeah.
don't do it is because you have to welcome the pain. Because your body already knows how to dissolve emotions when you're not resisting them and when you're not contracting. And the problem is when we feel an unwanted emotion, our immediate response is, "This is so painful, I don't wanna feel this." So there's usually some sort of contraction, or you stay distracted in some way, or you try to be positive. That's the way I see the most common way I see people blocking healing is they think being, like, negative or wallowing in your emotions is, like, a bad thing. So then they immediately try to go, like, "I should be positive, I should just look at, like, all the joy the cat brought me when they were in my life," or and then they don't really feel the grief and they don't feel the pain, and so then it stays stuck in the body because you held it there. By resisting what you're feeling, you held it there. If you had just, like, softened your body even 2% and welcomed the grief, and I have different mind body tools that I use to actually welcome your emotions because most people don't know how to welcome their emotions, um, your body would naturally dissolve the emotions, and then it wouldn't stay stuck in the body. Does that give you clarity?
It makes sense. It's not the first time someone tells me that actually experiencing your emotions is better than just putting them down or keeping them down. But what is your way of welcoming these emotions? Because some people out there maybe are a bit afraid, because as soon as you really let yourself into this very, very bad feeling that you have done everything to avoid, why should people take the risk?
Yeah. So if we go back to what I was talking about earlier, the human scale of consciousness, acceptance and willingness are really high on the scale, but love is even higher. So when I first saw that scale, I was like, oh, if I could just be more willing to feel what I'm feeling, that would be a huge jump in consciousness and I would immediately feel lighter. So that's all I was aiming for at first was just more willing to be exactly where I am. So that meant just bring more awareness to what I'm feeling instead of less awareness. So when I actually feel the grief, where do I feel it in my body? A lot of times people feel it in their heart. I feel a majority of my emotions in my stomach, but I just notice where do I feel it in my body? Because if you're actually triggered, you will feel discomfort somewhere in your body. Otherwise, you're not triggered. So you need to bring awareness to where in the body you feel it. And just there's lots of different questions you can ask as a way to bring more awareness, like, how does it feel on a scale of 1 to 10? If 1 is, like, not that much grief at all and 10 is so much grief, where am I at? And the purpose of answering these questions is because when you're trying to answer the question and you're like, "Okay, tuning in right now, I think I'm, like, a 7 out of 10 amount of grief I'm feeling about my cat dying." That was just 10 seconds right there that you weren't trying to suppress it, distract, make it go away. So that's what creates this opening and allows your body to work as it's designed. But willingness and acceptance, they're really high on the human scale of consciousness, but love is even higher. So if you could even welcome what you're feeling with love and compassion, like, I'm so sorry that you're feeling this way. Like, think of it like this part of you that's really sad. And you're like, I'm so sorry you're feeling this way. I'm so sorry you're experiencing this. And you go straight to compassion and love, that's an even higher jump in consciousness and you would heal so much faster. So that's a way you can do it. Just bring more awareness to what you're feeling and then on top of that, have compassion for yourself.
Okay, so do little baby steps, and if you can, you just try to say sorry to your stomach or the part where you really feel the grief. So you need to locate it in your body. Okay. Wow. It's a lot for hearing this for the first time.
Uh-huh.
What was your story? What is your story or way to come to the subject? You struggled with stuff yourself in your life, and I think you tried a lot to deal with. What is your story? How did you come to all of the things you're doing right now?
Yeah, I had severe depression for about 5 years and suicidal thoughts, and I had anxiety my entire life as well. But it was the depression that was really getting my attention, and I went through a lot of different phases with it. Like, first, I tried to just distract from it, thinking that the pain would go away, and then obviously it didn't. And then things got, like, much worse, so then I went to the doctor because I didn't know what else to do at the time. I obviously had not heard of any of these things back then. So I went straight to the doctor, they put me on antidepressants and had me see, like, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, all that, but I wasn't seeing any relief, and I also had a really weird experience with the medication that most people don't have this experience where the medication had no effect on me, so it was like I was taking a sugar pill. So it's like I didn't have positive effects or negative side effects, and so they thought that was weird, so they kept, like, increasing the dosage or just trying different ones. They're like, "Maybe we just haven't found the one that works for you." So then I was on, like, sometimes 3 or 4 at the same time, and, like, it was like I was taking nothing, and then obviously seeing the psychologist and seeing the psychiatrist wasn't helping either because all they really teach you is how to manage your pain. And I was so sensitive that that wasn't possible for me to just manage because I could still feel it there all the time, even when I was trying their managing techniques, like cognitive behavioral therapy is a very common, it's like the most common form of therapy. And essentially what it is they're trying to get you to shift your thoughts. So if you're having a negative thought, they try to make you shift your perspective to see it more positively. But what that does is bypass your emotions. And so the emotions are still stuck in the body. And now they're creating illness, like they're creating worse things. Like I just had a mental illness, but it was starting to affect my physical health as well. I had acid reflux that I had to take medication for every day. Um, so yeah, I just found that it wasn't working. And so then I was so desperate to heal that I was like, I'm willing to try anything and this isn't working. So then I was more open at that point to trying like holistic things or like just like anything I could find. So I would Google how to heal from depression. I would go to the second and third pages of Google, which nobody really does, right? Like who goes past the first page? Like that's how desperate I was to heal, like clicking every single link, going to every page, trying everything, and still nothing was working even when I was trying the more natural holistic things as well. Like I was trying acupuncture, hypnosis, EMDR, EFT, like you name it, I've probably tried it. I'd be surprised if I didn't try it. And I still wasn't seeing relief. And so then I, contemplated suicide and things like that. And I didn't end up going down that route, which I'm really happy I didn't. So then I went back to distracting because I was like, okay, I've tried everything and nothing works. So let's just stay busy with work and hope that one day I feel better. And what happened was when I released that like super desperate energy to heal, like trying everything, Googling, researching, like having practitioner sessions like every week, like as soon as I stopped doing that and I wasn't in this like desperate energy to heal and there was this softening, there was this, like, opening that happened because I was in less resistance. I wasn't trying to make my pain go away anymore, that then I received the exact resource that I needed. I found my mentor in, like, the most synchronistic way, and she used to be an ER doctor, and now she does primarily mind-body medicine, which is getting to the root cause of your illness, and when I met her, I just really resonated with her because I had, like, a super analytical mind before that because I was an engineer, and she was really good at explaining the science behind how your body already knows how to heal itself, and that you just have this untapped power that you just don't even know that you have because you immediately go into resisting your emotions, so you never see what happens when you welcome your emotions, and that your body already knows how to handle this, and it just made a lot of sense to me when she would explain how the body's electromagnetic and all this kind of stuff, and so I was more open to it, and as soon as I took one of her DIY courses, I healed from depression. Like, just by doing her DIY course, I didn't even have to work with her privately yet. It was the only thing that helped me because I feel like I was finally getting to the root cause on why was the depression showing up in the first place, rather than just make the pain go away, make the pain go away. So that's when I really started to see shifts.
Wow. Okay, so metaphorically, you just let go, and afterwards everything got better.
Surrendered.
What a message to everybody out there who's just struggling every single day with something like you just said, an illness, and they're doing everything they can to do something against it. And maybe the only thing they should do is to let it go for a few weeks. Of course, if
Surrendered.
you have a severe injury or anything that's really, really bad, please go to the doctor. But when it comes to those things, maybe that would be something new that not that many people, at least where I'm coming from, test it out or see as an option even. Because as you just said, our body and your mind knows exactly what to do and how to heal it. Then my next question would be, why are we blocking it? Why is our mind structured that way? Why never in evolution did we come across the thoughts that we just should let go, really just should let our body do its thing? Why are we always trying to block it?
Well, so yeah, if you actually go back to like ancient times, it was very natural to do this because we didn't have conventional medicine. Um, but once conventional medicine was created, I mean, I don't know if you want to go down this rabbit hole, but it is a business, right? So it's sick care, not health care. So the only way they make money is if you're sick. So they don't actually want you to know that your body knows how to heal itself. So there is a lot of propaganda. Like you've probably heard, oh, like chiropractors are quacks or like shit like that. Like there is so much propaganda that it is engraved in almost every single person that natural healing is like bad and wrong. And anyone that does it is like gullible and stupid and like don't look there. Like there's a lot of propaganda about that. And that's because they don't want you to know the power that you have because it's so much more than just you'll heal your body. At that point, you can't be easily manipulated. The whole system would fall apart, not just the medical system. Because you'd realize like you're way more free than you think you are, and a lot of things that you think you have to do, you don't have to do. Once you start to dissolve these limiting beliefs, you just feel truth. Like you're when you're not scared, you don't make decisions from fear, and then you start honoring yourself, and then you realize when you honor yourself how much your life expands and how everyone benefits, and that all these limiting beliefs about the fact that you have to like sacrifice yourself for other people or compromise or like abandon your desires or like be in a job you hate for the rest of your life, like it's all lies. Like, so I mean that sums up the answer to your question. But I also wanted to speak to what you said about if you have like a really severe illness, you kind of made it seem like this wouldn't work for that, and I really need to clarify that if all you did was take physical action and you never addressed the emotional root cause, you're never going to heal the root cause of your illness. So then you're either guaranteeing that you'll have to manage the illness forever, or even if you do heal the illness, it will come back because you didn't heal the root cause and your body wants you to be free. So it's going to keep bringing it up. Or you're going to just manifest a different problem in your life that makes you feel the same way that that illness made you feel. Because again, you didn't heal the root cause, so it's still in your body. So the methods that I use don't neglect conventional medicine. They just, first priority is you need to heal the root cause. And then when you heal the root cause, the solution shows up, which sometimes is something conventional, like a medication or a surgery or a supplement or whatever, right? But you need to be in the same consciousness as the solution. So if you never shift your consciousness, so okay, let's put it this way. The illness showed up because you're a match for it. You are carrying the exact thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that are a match for that illness. So Lyme disease, for example, is like victim consciousness mixed with like pushing really hard to overcome. So if you have Lyme disease, you're in that consciousness, and that's why you manifested it. And so if you dissolve even 2% of the victim energy and come into like slightly higher consciousness, now the solution has to show up because now you're in the same consciousness as the solution. The solution doesn't exist down here where the problem got created. It's like that saying by Einstein, the solution doesn't exist in the same state of consciousness where the problem got created. You have to come into a higher consciousness for the solution to show up or for the problem to just go away. So this is where you would get maybe some sort of idea like, I should go to the doctor, or what this doctor is saying really resonates with me and feels really light. But that physically can't happen if you don't shift your consciousness. You're just going to be taking action, but staying in the same consciousness, which means you haven't accessed the solution.
So, for instance, you would also say that someone who is a cancer patient at the moment or has to deal with cancer that just not just but because of their state of their conscious they got the disease.
Yeah, so actually my dad, we recently found out, has cancer, and
Oh.
this was not shocking to me because for the specific type that he has, if you were to look up the root cause, which you can just chat GPT this, you can be like, from a mind body medicine perspective, what's the emotional root cause of this illness or this symptom? And it will tell you. Or you can read the book. It's called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, and it will tell you common emotional causes for physical illness. But yeah, so I wasn't shocked because that particular type of cancer is major suppression of emotions, especially shame, and this uh like I don't know how to describe the energy. Like you're an overachiever. So you completely abandoned your body to just like get more wealth or achieve more or accomplish more. And then the chronic shame, like my dad has done so many things in his life that like are so messed up that he has so much shame about it. And he's never welcomed or dissolved the shame. He's just tried to make up for what he's done so that he doesn't feel the shame, like by giving more money to me and my sister to make up for the fact that he wasn't around and did like really messed up shit. And so he never dissolved any of the shame. He just tried to like put a band-aid on it. And he just tried to achieve more and, like, he's definitely super wealthy, super successful, super smart, but he abandoned his body to get to where he is. And so now he's at this point where he has all these stuck emotions in his body that he has no interest in welcoming. Like, even when he's in this state. So the illness has come up so that now he feels all the emotions because this exact illness will make him feel these exact emotions. So if he were to feel what he's feeling more fully right now, he would be getting to the root cause. And maybe it would still resonate with him to do treatment at the same time. Again, he has to feel into his body to see if that feels light or heavy. But if he's only doing treatment and he's not addressing the emotional root cause, like he's almost guaranteeing that he won't heal, essentially. And I've noticed that illnesses only get to this point where they're this life threatening when there's been so much suppression, because your body will start really subtle. Like it'll only trigger you in like your relationships, or it'll only trigger you in your career, or things like that, and it doesn't turn into an illness unless you have suppressed every other opportunity to heal, where your body tried to make it subtle first, and you still suppressed all your emotions, and you still abandoned your body over and over and over again. So then that's when it gets louder because your body's screaming for your attention, and your body thinks the only way it's going to get it is if it's really, really loud, and you're like, nothing else is working, that like I'm finally willing to look within. And so that's usually why illnesses get to a point where they're like really life threatening. It's just to get your attention because everything else didn't get your attention.
I understand what you're saying, but the first question that came to my mind, because in Germany, the root cause for, or the main cause publicly for cancer or lung cancer is smoking, for instance, or working on very, very bad occasions, very bad surroundings, all of that stuff. So, would you say that all of that is wrong and really only solely how you treat yourself throughout your life is responsible for if you get cancer or not in the later years? So you could smoke for 40 years and nothing would happen? Or is it going hand in hand that every single time someone is in this conscious state, that it's also the state where people tend to smoke more easily or
Okay,
be
yeah, you're almost getting there. So the reason someone would want to smoke in the first place, they are the same match for that. Like they're in a state of consciousness that they would want to smoke. So it is still your state of consciousness that caused the illness. Is that making sense?
that does make sense, but turning it around would also someone could also say, yeah, everybody that smokes is in in a special state aura wise, or the universe knows every single person that smokes and now they're punishing them. You get what I tried to say? You could
Yeah,
also
I
turn
know
it
what you're
around and
saying.
also go around the thing, and you could tell that for holistic health, for quantum, that's why I'm a bit skeptic on that side, because you just correlate two things, and the one thing is always on the same with the other.
Okay,
They're not existing solely. Sorry. Yeah.
okay, let's put it this way. Someone who's carrying shame doesn't love themselves. They are going to do self-destructive things. They're going to eat unhealthy. They're not going to want to work out.
Hmm.
That's their state of consciousness. These you have you have a set of beliefs, which is like a program that you're operating on. That's your state of consciousness. So the beliefs you have make you crave unhealthy foods and date people that treat you with disrespect, and you don't feel like working out, and then you gain a bunch of weight. And then what happens when you gain a bunch of weight is you feel shame. So you feel the exact emotion that caused you to gain weight in the first place. It starts with the emotion and the beliefs, and then it turns into something physical. Is this making sense? So the only
I get
reason
it. Yeah.
someone would want to smoke the only reason someone would want to smoke is because of the emotions they're carrying and the beliefs that they're carrying that are so low vibration that they would want to do that, versus someone who's in a really high vibration who loves themselves unconditionally. They would never want to smoke. They like, for example, I used to eat all fast food, breakfast, lunch, dinner, every single meal, fast food, when I was carrying a lot of shame and I didn't really love myself. And then the more healing work that I've done, fast food makes me feel sick, and I actually like crave healthier and healthier foods like salads. I never thought I would crave salads. And now all of a sudden it's so important to me to eat organic, or I prefer to have like all natural ingredients in like everything I use. And like I never cared about these things before. And I don't care about them now because I've read scary articles that tell you, "Oh, there's chemicals in your makeup, so don't, wear this kind of makeup." It's literally just the more healing work I've done, I'm like, "Oh, I want to see if I can buy all natural makeup. I want to see if I can get like cleaner products. I want to see if I can get organic foods." And it's not coming from a state of fear like, "Oh my God, I can't eat anything non organic." It's truly like, I want to love and nurture myself. And so I crave things that are loving and nurturing. So it all starts from your beliefs and your emotions that give you a program that you operate on that makes you make certain decisions that then could lead to you having cancer or any sort of illness that would make you want to smoke in the first place, versus someone who doesn't have those beliefs. They would never wanna pick up a cigarette, and then they're way less likely to get that particular type of illness.
Okay, so it makes sense now in in my head, but it completely blows it at the same time, because I never
Okay.
heard of that, of course. And just like you just said, craving fast food, I would count myself into the category that is at the moment very, very, very easily in the mindset to just go to McDonald's or any other fast food restaurant,
Mhm. Mhm.
then cook for themselves. But deeper down, I also thought about what emotion I could be keeping down. I didn't come up with anything right now. I don't know if it's shame. I don't really think it's shame, actually. How could you identify the emotion that you are trying to put down at the moment if it's not that obvious?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, your body's on your side, and like I said, you are co-creating your entire reality, so it's actually going to be very simple. You are just going to be triggered by things that you need to heal. So, as long as you're welcoming every single trigger, meaning you might think it's unrelated if, like, a friend says something to you that triggers you, or a girl that you're dating says something to you that triggers you, or you like didn't get a client, or you lost your job, or like, it doesn't matter what it is, but like if you're carrying any emotion that's not aligned with your natural state, something will trigger it. So all you have to
Mhm.
do is wait for the triggers. And so you might not correlate that my girlfriend triggering me has anything to do with why I crave fast food. You don't ever need to actually understand it in order to heal it. Because if you look at the human scale of consciousness, reason is right below love. Reason operates at 400, love operates at 500. So if you actually stay in your mind and you're like, I have to understand this first, I have to understand why I'm eating fast food, I have to understand why this illness is showing up, you're going to stay at 400, which is still a really high consciousness. But if you went straight to just love and compassion, like, I have compassion for the part of me that craves unhealthy foods. Or if something triggers you, you just have compassion for yourself. Like, I'm so sorry you're feeling this way. I'm so sorry you're experiencing this. And you go straight to love. You're skipping reason and you will heal it without ever understanding what it was. I could probably list 10 things I healed right now without knowing the root cause before I healed it. Depression, I didn't know what the root cause of depression was before I healed it. I healed just by taking that DIY course, and that was before I understood anything about the body, how it heals itself, that depression is just suppressed emotions. I didn't understand that. I had acid reflux that I took medication for every day, and then one day I didn't need the medication anymore. And I had no idea what I did that had me one day not need my medication anymore because I was just welcoming all of my emotions. And I didn't realize that acid reflux means you're suppressing your emotions. So it's kind of like everything's trying to come up and you're pushing it back down. And that's why you get like it's coming up the esophagus and things like that. So most people that suppress their emotions have acid reflux. Very common. Uh, does that answer your question?
That does, and it happens not never, but very, very rarely that someone completely blows my brain with what they're telling me on that podcast. Because what you're just saying, it's not like I completely understand it, or it's not like I completely believe in it right now, but it's something that I can test out for the next few weeks and see for myself if it's really working, because you just explained it that very, very simple. I know there is stuff behind it and stuff you need to watch out for, but the very default, the first baby steps, you really can do on your own and see if it works or not, right?
Yes. And what I would say is like, obviously, once I started to see evidence, I was like, okay, this is my go-to way of solving
Mm-hmm.
problems now, right? So, like, there were times in my life where I had problems that I thought there was absolutely no solution to the problem. So, I didn't even try to solve it because I couldn't think of a way to solve it. But I felt like unthinkable fear and powerlessness because of this problem. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to welcome the fear and powerlessness because there's literally nothing else I can do. And I don't want to just sit here in unthinkable fear and powerlessness. Like if I know how to welcome it and that's going to make me feel more peace, that's what I'm going to do. And so then that's all I did. And then the problem completely went away without me having to do anything. And that was the first time that I think consciously noticed that when I shift my state, the problem goes away or the solution comes in, one of the two things. And once I realized that, that is now how I solve every problem in my life. As soon as a problem shows up, I immediately go into welcoming how it makes me feel until I've noticed that I feel differently. Because when you're saying, oh, let me try it out does not mean, okay, I'll welcome my emotions for like a couple weeks and then we'll see what happens. You will know when you're in a different state. So if you've welcomed that emotion to the point where you don't feel it anymore, so you were feeling so much fear and you kept welcoming it to the point where you're like, this thing doesn't scare me anymore. Now you know you've come into a higher consciousness. And then wait to see what changes in your reality. But if you still feel the same amount of fear, you're just remind yourself, I'm in the same consciousness. So how could my reality look different? It won't look different. So I don't want you to just be like, oh, I'm going to try it out. And then nothing changes in your reality and you're like, this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You will know when your reality is about to change because you will feel differently internally first. So just make sure that that's what you're looking for. Oh my God, I noticed that as soon as I felt different internally, this problem went away. Or this resource showed up in my life that resonated with me and was like exactly what I was looking for. Those are the type of things that happen when you shift your consciousness. You see a different reality. You can't possibly see the same reality if you're in a different consciousness. I know if you haven't studied quantum physics, it makes no sense, but uh, yeah, your consciousness is creating your entire reality. So if you want to see a different reality, you need to be in even a slightly higher consciousness than you were before. And you will know that you're in a higher consciousness because you will feel different. You will feel lighter. You will feel less scared. You will feel less shame. You will feel less apathy, less guilt, less grief, whatever it is.
Okay. So testing it out, but also watching out for how you feel. And if you don't feel different afterwards, you didn't do it right. So, of course, everybody that's just listening or watching this episode, they're dying to know now how they could do the first things. What are the easiest things to implement into an everyday life? Because, of course, you know all of this right now, but tomorrow morning is just like every other morning. You're going to your work, you have still all the stuff you need to do, and maybe you have not the time to think very, very deeply for 1 hour about your emotions and to wallow
Hmm.
in them.
Hmm.
What are steps or actions everybody could do to, yeah, do the love thing? Like, is it really just standing there telling yourself, yeah, I love? Because at the end of the day, maybe you feel the same afterwards. What do you need to watch out for?
Yeah. So when I first started doing this work, all I did was 3 times a day, I would do what I call the ABC tool, which is awareness, breath, conscious choice. And I would do it 3 times a day, and I would only even do it, like, for, like, a minute per day. Like, this does not have to be, like, you sit there for an hour welcoming your emotions, although that is what I would recommend if you want to see drastic changes in your life. But if you're so not used to if you're so not used to welcoming your emotions, you can just do it for, like, a minute at a time, 3 times per day. So, as soon as you wake up in the morning, you're already laying down and you're already more relaxed, so it's so much easier to drop into the body and see how you're feeling because you're not like in your mind yet, keeping busy, thinking about the day, all that kind of stuff. And then also right before bed, same thing. You're laying down, you're more relaxed, you're probably not as much thinking about the day. And then I had an alarm that would go off on my phone that still to this day goes off on my phone once a day as just a reminder to tune into my body, check in. Hey, body, how are you feeling? Once a day, I have an alarm that goes off. So the 3 steps: awareness, breath, conscious choice. Awareness, we kind of already talked about it. What am I feeling right now in my body? First of all, if there's something that's triggering you, bring it to your attention. I'm really stressed about the fact that, like, I don't know, not getting more clients or something. Okay, where do I feel that in my body? If it really is a trigger, I feel it somewhere in my body. So where do I feel it in my body? Bring more awareness to it. And if you could, like, notice anything about it, like, does it feel like a big rock in your stomach? Or does it feel like butterflies in your stomach? Like, does it have a size? Is it just like a tiny little pebble? Or did you feel it like in your entire stomach? Like, just really trying to bring as much awareness as you possibly can to where you feel it. And then, like I said earlier, rating it on a scale of 1 to 10. Or if you're not even triggered, just rating how you feel on a scale of 1 to 10. Like,
Hmm.
I feel kind of contracted right now. I feel kind of heavy. I don't even know why, but I just feel kind of heavy. And even if you didn't even answer it from 1 to 10, you're just tuning in and noticing how you feel right now and trying to put a number to it, even if you can't come up with a number. So yeah, bring awareness and then breath. So the purpose of the breath is because if you're breathing shallow into your chest, you're in fight or flight. So you can't activate your body's ability to self heal. So you have to be breathing into your belly to activate your rest and digest state. So if you just take at least 3 slow, deeper breaths into your belly, that's usually enough to get out of fight or flight. Unless you're really triggered, then you're going to need more breath. And if you soften your shoulders, the breath more naturally comes all the way down to your belly. So if you just think soft, let's try to be a little bit softer. That's the second step, breath. And then part C is conscious choice. Conscious choice is probably the only thing you're doing. It's probably the only thing anyone's doing. That's where you're usually looking at things differently. It's the more masculine approach. It's like bigger picture awareness. What's really going on here? There's nothing to really be stressed about. This is just a perceived threat. Like, why am I scared? And just like looking at it differently, or like choosing So let's say you notice you're really hard on yourself. Your conscious choice could be, I choose to be easier on myself today, something like that. Or if you're just like really stressed, you could just say, I choose to relax my body and be at total peace now. And just like anchoring in a more positive emotion or thought is what conscious choice is. And that's really the least important part of the equation. So if you get confused on what to do with part C, you can skip it. And the reason you can skip it is because, like I said earlier, your natural state is joy, peace, and love. So if all you did was A and B, awareness and breath, and you dissolved some heavy emotions, you're already going to feel more joy, peace, and love. So you don't really have to bring it in, but you can to like amplify the lightness that you're going to be feeling after. If you're like, oh, I want to feel more lightness, then that's where you could even say affirmations or things like that as well. But some people only say affirmations and then they don't welcome what they're feeling. And it's like, it's not going to land and it's not going to stick. So you have to go in that order.
Wow. Thank you so much for everything you just shared. Alisha Kapani, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, it was very great. Not saying that I believe in it completely or understand it to 100%, but it was a great insight into the first things. And I will definitely not only give it a try, but really try to get into it. And yeah, learn more about it. So thank you so much. Where is a place where people could go to get to know you a bit better or to ask you more questions?
Yeah, so you can find me on my website at alishakapani.com or on social media. I mostly hang out on Instagram, Alisha_Kapani.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.